see if you know this and join in with me. Sometimes in my tears I drown, but I'm never gonna let me down. So when negativity surrounds, I know someday it'll all turn around, because all my life I've been waiting for, I've been praying for the people to say that we don't wanna fight no more. There'll be no more wars and our children will play one day, one day, one day, one day, one day, one day. This is by Antisemitism. And I think about it this Shabbat because, of course, we share the same prayer that we pray for this time. There'll be no more wars when we have been so down and our tears are, we're drowning in our tears, and there's all this negativity, that we pray for this time when there'll be, we've been waiting and waiting for that one day. And I think about it this week in particular, because you might have heard that Matisyahu was scheduled to perform a concert in Santa Fe, in Tucson, and protesters essentially got the concerts to be canceled. It wasn't clear originally what was happening, but essentially some protesters said that Matisyahu shouldn't be performing, given, for example, that he has performed in Israel, even with the IDF recently, and so hesitate to label entirely kind of pro-Palestinian protesters, let's just say that. And so they put pressure on the venues to cancel. And at first they weren't going to, and Matisyahu said, listen, we'll pay for more security, we'll pay for more staffing, but the venue, first in Santa Fe, caved, and then the venue in Tucson caved. And he actually went on to perform a free concert somewhere else, but for a small group of people. And Matisyahu himself said, first of all, you might, if you're familiar with him, you might know that he became very famous many years ago, and he was well known as someone who was an observant Jew in an often space that is not necessarily common or accommodating to observant Jews. But then over the last few years, he sort of backed away from his observance. But he said after October 7th, he's felt more drawn to kind of renewing his Jewish connections as a Jew and with Israel, and speaking out about what's been happening. And so, as you might imagine, he and his people who were going to the concerts were quite distressed. I actually heard originally, I think from Ruby Levant, from your sister, was supposed to be at the concert, right? Yeah. So she got to see him though at the other concert, right? So at least you got to see him at the other one. He said, he wrote, he tweeted afterwards, tearing down posters of kidnapped children does not bring justice, chanting genocidal slogans at Jews does not bring peace, preventing fans of all ethnic and religious backgrounds from singing together in Santa Fe or Tucson does not bring peace, he wrote. In fact, it does just the opposite. So it's a sad day, and really part of a trend that this is happening in music spaces, at film festivals where an Israeli film was going to be shown. Just this week, a cyclist who served in the IDF was supposed to be in some competition in Canada, and she was essentially blacklisted. I mean, this is happening around, as we know, and so it's a sad day. I'm really struck by the words of this song. One day, it imagines a time that will this negativity, the tears, the time of peace, when that will arrive. It hasn't arrived, honestly, in thousands of years, but we nevertheless hope, and we renew that hope time and time and time again. We won't kind of give up on that tikvah, on that hope. In fact, sort of the Jewish version of one day is, in our davening, we say it 3 times a day. Bayom mahu, yeh Adonai echad. Bayom mahu, on that day, on that one day. Now, I kind of think his tune's a little catchier than that tune. I'm sure our cantors could tell us the history behind that. Bayom mahu. But that's really what it's saying. We end each and every service 3 times a day, 365 days a year, imagining and praying for and striving for that one day. And it's true not just in our davening, but I would say that in some sense, that vision, that hope, is really the essence of Shabbat. We just daven so beautifully. We turn towards the back and we say, Bo v'shalom, come in peace. We are waiting for that day. And Shabbat is meant to be, as you know, tam shel olam haba. It's supposed to be a little bit of a taste of the world to come, when we allow ourselves to put aside the negativity and stop the tears, as we just said in Lecha Dodi, and we urge each other with our good Shabbos is for that peace to eventually arrive. I'll conclude with this. The Matisyahu said to his audience, "I'm sorry you were denied a show. I love you all. My band and I will be back. We will not respond to hate with more hate. We'll be together again. We'll make music together again." So even in his response, he's encouraging. He says, one day, I'm going to be back, right? We're not going to let this get us down. As he concludes, we'll sing together again one day soon. En Yiratzon, so may it be that one day arises soon, that Amar